Like to open up the show with a brand new song. A little tune I like to call my opening song. This would be the second verse. Thematically speaking, it's the same as the first. To kill some time, think I'm gonna change the chords. Now I'm right back where I used to be before. I gave it all I had, oh, I tried my best. Oh, come up empty, I swung a mitt. Hit a little something, goes something like this. Hit a little something, goes something like this. Well, I got myself some paper and a ballpoint pen. Sat down to write y'all musical gem. A song safe to say I don't mind admitting would have been the best I ever wrote had it been written. To kill some time, think I'm gonna change the chord. Now I'm right back where I used to be before. I gave it all I had, oh, I swung my bed, oh, I tried running, I come on. Well, I hit a little something, goes something like it. Whoops. Hit a little something, goes something like this. Here comes a fancy part. With a little ingenuity and a lot of ambiguity, I could write a tune you won't forget. Oh, my lack of inspiration could be ample motivation, but I can't feel anything motivating yet. Well, the song I didn't write would have made your day, taking all our troubles away, soothed our souls, lifted our spirits, none of which can happen because we're never gonna hear it. Because sometime I ain't gonna change the chords. Now I'm right back where I used to be before. I gave it all I had, oh, I tried my best. Oh, come up empty, I swung a mitt. Hit a little something, goes something. Hit a little something, goes something. Hit a little something, goes something like this. Welcome, show number 2, online and unplugged. I'm Jeff Daniels. This is a fundraiser for the Purple Rose Theater Company in Chelsea, Michigan. It's a theater that I founded almost 30 years ago. It's a professional theater company, hires a lot of people, entertains about over 40,000 people a year, come into this little town of Chelsea, 2 stoplights and 40,000 people, all of them with wallets and purses, and they love coming, and now they're not. So this is a fundraiser to help keep the Purple Rose Theater Company there, help keep the people, and we had a good concert a week ago. We're going to do 2 more next Monday night, same time, same channel, and 2 weeks from now, Monday night, same time, same channel. Purple Rose Theater Company YouTube channel. So that's what I'm doing. I'm not getting paid anything. All the money goes to the Purple Rose, and please help if you feel so inclined. $1, $5, 10, 20 more, doesn't matter. It all helps so that we can come back exactly the way we left ourselves, which we were at the top of our game, and we're doing everything we can to keep it that way. So I'm going to play some new stuff, but also some of the stuff I played last week, because some of it is like, you know, it's not like I have greatest hits, but some people like to hear some of this stuff again, those who've heard it before. So, but first I'm going to go back to one I played last week, and that's because of the hat. You're probably worried about the hat. You're judging the hat. You're thinking about the hat. You're going, I love the hat. I hate the hat. I happen to like it, but there's a reason. I don't know, I don't care, long as I can wear you anywhere. You dress me up and you dress me down. You say a lot without making a sound. Some people, they just laugh at me, wondering who I think I'm trying to be. But if everything they say is true, I guess I'm just a lot like you. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I recall. Sometimes no matter how I try, it don't matter at all. This time, all it took was for someone to say, is that your grandfather's hat? You stood out in the crowd, you were one of a kind, the life of the party and never behind. You took it all in with a grain of salt, took the blame when it wasn't your fault. I swear I can see you plain as day. I close my eyes and I can hear you say, oh, damned if I do, damned if I don't. The hell I will and the hell I won't. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I recall. Sometimes no matter how I try, it don't matter at all. But this time all it took was for someone to say, is that your grandfather's hat? When I go walking down your old street, I tip your hat to all I meet. You dress me up and you dress me down. You still say a lot without making a sound. And some people, they still laugh at me, wondering who the hell I think I'm trying to be. But if everything they say is true, guess I'm just a lot like you. 'Cause I stand out in the crowd, I am one of a kind. I'm the life of the party and I'm never behind. I take it all in with a grain of salt. I take the blame when it ain't my fault. I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. And the hell I will and the hell I won't. Sometimes I remember, and sometimes I recall. Sometimes no matter how I try, it don't matter at all. But this time all it took was for someone to say, is that your grandfather's hat? There's a lot of those grandfathers and grandmothers and great aunts and great uncles in those nursing homes. You're self-isolating, okay? So am I, our immediate family. Let's hope got some Chuck Todd, Meet the Press yesterday, had the doctor from Oxford University on there. He looked like a guy who doesn't get very excited. He wasn't excited, but he was saying some positive things about a vaccine, that maybe they're a bit ahead of the game. Maybe, you know. It still means, you know, you got to do the thing. You got to, you know, wear the mask, do the social, just do it. Just please do it. I do it for you. Please do it for me. And for the health workers that are going to have to treat you when you get this thing that just swoops in. That's all we have to do to help us get back to normal sooner rather than later. So I encourage you to go outside, dress like an outlaw, go into a bank. Go into a bank with the mask on. When are we ever going to get to do that again? Just saying. So you're self-isolating. Those of you who are married know what a test that is. I've been married a long time. I'm going to say 40 years. This has been a great 2 months with my wife, Kathleen. I've learned a lot. I've improved my human beingness. I think some of you guys might know what I'm talking about. Because when you're together all the time, you know, you don't want that look. You don't want her to turn and look at you, and without having to even say it, you see her thinking, it's not that I don't love you, I just don't like you anymore. That's a crusher. That is the period at the end of a sentence in an argument with your wife. Here's a guy who heard it. She took me by surprise, she was a matter of fact. She looked between the eyes and I couldn't look back. She said, we need to talk, and she refused to discuss. Now what was me and her is now no longer us. I was her Sir Galahad, her Lancelot. That was then and this is now, what was is best forgot. The lie I'd been living turned out to be true when I heard the sound of what could only be her other shoe. My sweet herever afters now my never before. My little slice of heaven's now my what the hell for. The apple of my eye now right into the core. It's not that she don't love me, she just don't like me anymore. Nobody's perfect, I ain't no saint. My same old reliable. Guess it needs a new coat of paint. I used to be her genius, now I don't make no sense. My shiny silver dollar's worth a measly 2 cents. You never know it's over till it's right under your nose. You never see it coming till that's how it goes. My sweet herever after now my never before. My little slice of heaven now my what the hell for. The apple of my eye now right to the core. Not that she don't love me, she just don't like me anymore. She don't like me. Nobody's perfect, I ain't no saint. My same old reliable. Guess it needs a new coat of paint. I gave her my all, I took one for the team. Tossed my coat across her puddle, topped her coffee off with cream. But part of me still loves her, part of me still cares. Even though Betty Davis pushed Joan Crawford down the stairs. My sweet herever after now my never before. My little slice of heaven now my what the hell for. The apple of my eye now right to the core. Not that she don't love me, she just don't like me anymore. She don't like me. She don't like me. That's as jazzy as I get. So that's, if you're hanging tough, being a better person, you're going to come out the other end of this thing with a better marriage, better relationship. But it usually means that the guy has to do the improving. Take it from me. Just take it from me. One of the things that I miss is sports. Baseball in particular. I love watching baseball. It's dramatic. 2-1. There's the pitch outside, 3-1. Well, what's it? And then you get to sit for 15 seconds trying to figure out what he's going to do next. The drama builds, So I miss that, but what I don't miss about sports are the commercials, and particularly one commercial. And I played this song last week, but it's still annoying me. The Chevrolet truck commercials. Great company, terrific company, God bless them. But they made about 100 commercials with this one guy with a beard and an iPad and a clipboard and a bunch of people standing around, a bunch of different colored trucks that all pop up out of the ground or down from the ceiling or choppered in, something. They're all falling, they're coming from somewhere. And they made about 100 of these. And in each and every single one of these commercials, 3 seconds in, there is a white background with black lettering that says, "Real people, not actors." Real people, not. That pissed me off. I don't want to get all heavy. I don't mean to bring you down. But I ain't never drove no Chevy. Ain't about to drive one now. You see, I've been mistreated. Someone's done me wrong. My self-esteem is so low. My very existence is all but gone. What might you ask is the contributing factor? Real people, not actors. I don't want to hear how the world works, 'cause I know how to make a buck. Just ain't no excusing your reason for using artistic discrimination to sell a truck. Oh, but don't worry, I ain't into vengeance. I ain't out for blood. But God, would I give to be able to go up to my local Chevy dealer and just knee him in the nuts. My raison d'etre, my main benefactor. Real people, not actors. as a lifelong entertainer with a lawyer on retainer. Top of my list, little cease and desist, which he said is a legally binding no-brainer. Just like Max was a factor, John Deere's a tractor, that bearded little cat who's in every single ad. Guess what? He's an actor. It's the daily defamation of your relentless, redundant refrain, aired all across the nation. My little televised ball and chain. Yeah, but see, I've led many an expedition to the heart of the human condition. The last I knew, I was as real as you, so stick that up your ignition. Forgiveness comes easy once you've evened the score. So from now on, Chevy, you can kiss my Ford. Real people, real people. Obviously, I'm working through some personal issues regarding that, so nice to kind of turn it into art, to music, to something, which is kind of what the arts do, right? It's kind of what we're doing. We're all doing it, whether it's binge watching TV or movies or reading the book you always wanted to read, or the poems or the music you're listening to, or you're painting, you're doing all that. You know, it's that thing we, you know, at its lowest, the arts are what we do on Saturday night. But it can be more than that. And I think places like the Purple Rose and what everybody's doing as far as getting the arts to you, you know, all these musicians playing their way to you now. The arts, it's a very resilient part of who we are. We don't give up very easily. And Purple Rose Theater Company is hanging on, just like a lot of arts organizations. So if you feel so inclined tonight, 5, 10, 20 more, make a donation to the Purple Rose Theater Company. It would be much appreciated. I made a movie a long time ago called Gettysburg, and that was a big deal. It was like 93, 94, 5, 94, something like that. And I got to play a guy named Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, who was a great unsung American hero until the Civil War. Particularly Gettysburg is when he kind of happened, forced into becoming a hero. 10 months before Gettysburg, he was a college professor. And 10 months later, he was outnumbered 6-1. Confederates coming up the hill at him, and then he ran out of bullets. These guys, his men, ran out of bullets, but he held Little Round Top. It was a great for his Civil War buffs out there. It was a great experience. We shot in Gettysburg, and Ted Turner was the guy who did it. It was initially for TNT. It was for television, even back then. Never intended to be a movie, ever. It was 2 nights, 2 hours, 4 hours total, 2 nights, TNT. And then Ted saw it, and Ted thought, oh my God, it's going to win the Oscar. Long story short, it didn't win. But his enthusiasm and his passion for it was just great. I mean, you see Ted Turner, wherever you might see him, on interviews, and that's who he was, who he is. He was passionate. Man, and he had ideas. He was one of these guys with ideas. I keep saying like he was. He's still in Montana. I hope he's listening. It was a pleasure to work for him. A few years after Gettysburg, I get a phone call. from Ted Turner's office. Ted Turner is going to receive a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and he would like you to come and introduce him. I said, okay. And I went out there, honored. We're sitting on a sidewalk on Hollywood Boulevard, right outside Frederick's of Hollywood, something like that, or a convenience store. Those stars are like everywhere. They're everywhere. But there we were, and there was Ted, and they had a podium, and the star was, going to be unveiled. It was a big deal, and I was glad I came. I was going to say some Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain stuff in the intro to make him happy, but it was a great thing. When I was there, before the ceremony started, I looked over and I saw these two women sitting there in chairs, easily 80 years old, both of them. And they were dressed up, and they had this kind of regalness to them, elegance. It was, and then I found out it was Margaret O'Brien and Esther Williams. And they were there to give speeches, but to thank Ted for the Turner Movie Channel, because they got to see those old movies when it was them, when they were it. And it was such a great lesson in how to look back on a career or a life. Even then, almost 20 years ago, do the math, more, that it was, it landed. It landed. Proud of who they were, knew that it wasn't their time by decades. By decades, it wasn't their time. And that as fleeting as fame is, they did have their moment. And they were there to thank him for that. I thought that was pretty classy. And I have been on more than one red carpet. So I have seen stars come and go. I've been around a long time. I've been with people that were here, and then we did the movie or TV show, and then boom, see ya, But to have that ability to kind of look back on it like they did, and to be that proud of something you did years ago. It's not about what are you doing today. Sometimes what you did, did it matter? Did it count? Did it land with people? I lived in a mansion up in Hollywood Hills. I had rooms on floors that I ain't seen still. Married me a model who hung on my arm. She was my beautiful bracelet. She was my lucky charm. Had a building full of people paid to fan my flame, so that life as I knew it would never be the same. I was larger than life. I made the camera lie. I was your dream come true with a wink of my eye. Are you as excited about me as I am? Well, I walked the red carpet like royalty. I was Moses parting that celebrity sea. I look like a million, that's getting away cheap. Who said beauty was only skin deep? Even got myself fragrance I can call my own. Me and Walmart got a line of clothes. I'm just trying to make the world a better place to be, where everybody looks and smells like me. Are you as excited about me as I am? then one morning, to my surprise, my career just up and died. Called my manager on the telephone. He said, yeah, I hate to tell you, son, but you're on your own. I said, how can this happen? How can this be? Everyone I know wants to be me. I shine like a diamond, I'm as bright as the sun. I'm everything to everyone. He said, well, it may have been true, but all I know is that yesterday was a long time ago. He said, we live in a world that would rather forget what happened before for what isn't quite yet. Are you as excited about me as I am? Well, I lost my mansion, my supermodel wife, said goodbye to all the glamour, my glamorous life. And that building full of people all forgot my name, and now life as I knew it will never be the same. Drank myself stupid, took pills galore, spent a lot of time out to Betty Ford's. And now all I am is all I'm not. And all I had is all I got. I walked up to a stranger I did not know. I said, excuse me, sir, but before you go, I need to ask, do you know my name? Because I need someone to tell me that I'm still the same. He said, well, I'll tell you a little secret, truth be told, but first you gotta promise not to tell a soul. And then he leaned in close with a tear in his eye. He spoke like a man who could no longer lie. He said, I used to be famous. I used to be hot. I used to be someone that I know I'm not. I used to shine like a diamond. I was bright as the sun. I was everything, everyone. And he smiled a smile of a man who can. Told me someday soon I'd understand. With that he turned, walked away into his very own yesterday. Now all these years later, my surprise, once in a while I'm still recognized. Take a few pictures, sign some autographs, shake a few hands, have a few laughs. Just for a moment, I can feel the flame. Just for a moment, I'm still the same. And just for a moment, I'm more than just me. Just for a moment, I'm who I used to be. 'Cause I used to be famous, I used to be hot, I used to be someone I know I'm not. I used to shine like a diamond, I was bright as the sun. I was everything, everyone. Are you as excited about me as I am? A lot of red carpets. A lot of red carpets. It's a blood sport. I was on a red carpet once, and I got tired of being asked who I was wearing. So I said Carhartt. The interviewer, she didn't really know what to do with that. Al Kaline passed away. Al Kaline was the right fielder for the Detroit Tigers in the 60s, into the 70s. He was an all-star. He was one of the great baseball players. and he was my childhood hero. When I was a young boy, I went to Tiger Bat Day, where they would hand out, I don't know that they do it anymore, but they would hand out bats to all the kids, 12 and under, and these little league bats, and I went, and my dad took me, and it was so, walking into Tiger Stadium, it's like the first time you walk into the Grand Canyon, St. Patrick's Cathedral, something like that, where it just, boom, does that. And there he was, number 6, running out to right field. And all I knew of him was what I heard on the radio, Ernie Harwell calling it, K-Line gets the hit, wins the game. And you just, it's back when it was just this little radio and things in your imagination, which is what the arts does. Boom, it just, and so when you see him, he is like Gable on the big screen, or he's larger than life because you built him up. And there he is. Now, when Al passed away early in April, sad initially, but then I started to think about what childhood heroes kind of mean, especially now. We're kind of, we need heroes right now. Right now, there are a lot of health workers that are rightfully being called heroes. They're there tonight, and they're going to be there this summer in the event that it spikes. Let's hope it doesn't, but it's people like that, people that are sticking their chin out and diving in. We need those people. K-Line was always also somebody that I identified with because he worked hard. You don't come out of the womb great. You just don't. You got to work at it. And I think, too, also, because he played in Detroit, he wasn't in New York or L.A. There is a coastal thing, believe it or not. So, whether it's Willie Mays, San Francisco, or whether it's Mickey Mantle, they're just the media centers, So Al was kind of, in the game. He was a star, and no, not taking anything away from him, but he just wasn't, he didn't have the hype. And he wasn't that kind of personality. He's a lot like Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions, who also would, I don't know if Barry said it, but he certainly acted like it. He'd score a touchdown, and he didn't act like it was the first touchdown he'd ever scored in his life. I like those guys, and that stuck with me. So it made me, when Al passed away, it made me think about the childhood hero that I had or that you have. Did they measure up? Did they come through for you? And if they did, what did you take away from them? How did they make you better? Did you pick the right one, And I did. Early summer 1964, 9 years old and ready for more. Just like Christmas comes once a year, Tiger Bat Day is finally here. Backyard baseball, I was destined for stardom. When I was him, I hit it over Mom's garden. He was the hero I pretended to be. I was him, he was me. He's just a ball player, I was just a kid. All I ever wanted was everything he did. Just like him, I reached for more than I could ever be. My childhood hero died today, along with a little bit of me. I clutched my glove, made a shoelace and leather. Turnstiles turn, Dad is taking forever. He said, straighten up, settle down. Well, K-Line don't take to no fooling around. You smell those peanuts, hot dogs and beer? There's a heaven on earth, I got a nickel that's here. And he was just a ball player, I was just a kid. All I ever wanted was everything he did. Just like him, I reached for more than I could ever be. My childhood hero died today, along with a little bit of me. The man tore my ticket, turned away. Didn't need to hear what I was dying to say. Before I knew it, just like that, that ticket man was holding a small wooden bat. Well, I looked down that barrel and I saw his name. From that day onward, I was never the same. Now decades later, with that bat in my hand, some things take a lifetime to understand. He was just a ball player, I was just a kid. All I ever wanted was everything he did. And just like him, I reached for more than I could ever be. A childhood hero died today, along with a little bit of me. A childhood hero died today, along with a little bit of me. Yeah. I am happy to report that I wrote that about a week ago, and Devin Skillion, who's a friend of mine, local anchor for the local NBC affiliate here in Detroit, Devin heard it and put it on his Sunday morning show called Flashpoint, and then locally it just was like this. It just took off and was a great way for a lot of people who, in this pandemic, you know, where's the memorial for K-Line? Where can they can't go anywhere, not to mention the family. But it was a way for people to kind of share the grief and mourn Al. And then I get an email from Cooperstown, New York. Yeah, the Baseball Hall of Fame. They want a copy. They want the original lyrics. Is what they want. So I said, how much? No, I didn't. I put it, I sent it. I couldn't believe it. And it will be part of Al K-Line's display, I'm told, or whatever it is they do with it. But it was an honor for them to call and to ask for them, and I couldn't get it into an envelope and in the mail fast enough. Cooperstown. Here's this is a true story. I don't think you can call yourself a real American till you've been behind the wheel of a recreational vehicle. Many summers ago, my wife and I decided to take our, at the time, very young family on a trip from Michigan to, yes, Cooperstown, New York, to see the Baseball Hall of Fame. Our mode of transportation was going to be a recreational vehicle that we were going to rent from Lloyd's Travel Land, where the motto was, travel with Lloyd. I knew Lloyd. Wouldn't want to go anywhere with him, but that's another story. Lloyd kind of escorted me around a lot, showed me this, showed me that. We settled on a 28-foot Jayco. Lloyd very proudly escorted me into this palace on wheels, proceeded to show me how the hot water worked and the generator, how the slide out, slid out, the sleep six comfortably, everything you could ever want to know about a recreational vehicle. And then he tossed me the keys and said, "Good luck, Chief." And I was about a mile down the road when I realized that nobody told me how to drive this damn thing. Now, driving a recreational vehicle is a little bit like driving a building. So the next time you're out on the interstate and you see a senior citizen, give him room. Pretty good chance he is in a white knuckle situation. I know I was. Now, despite my wife's Upper Peninsula upbringing, she is not a camper. She filled every nook and cranny of that 28-foot Jayco with enough snacks to feed the state of Ohio. Not to mention mittens, gloves, scarves. I says, "Honey, it's July." Down the road we went, turned left to Toledo, and after about 7 hours of very tense driving, my wife informed me that we were going to be staying at a Best Western. I said, "Honey, but the 28-foot Jayco sleeps 6 comfortably." And then I got the look, and those of you who are married know what the look is. And 2 exits later, I found myself pulling off and into the parking lot of a Best Western, where I spent most of my evening looking out one of 2 adjoining windows down into the parking lot at my 28-foot Jayco, full of snacks. The next morning, bright and early, we got up, not speaking. Down the road we went, and it was at this point that I realized that a 28-foot Jayco full of snacks is going to get about 1.8 miles to the gallon. So I pulled into a truck stop in Erie, Pennsylvania. I got out, started gassing up my vehicle when I heard a voice behind me say, "Excuse me, sir, but you the guy that was in that movie with all them ducks?" I said, "That's right. Jeff Bridges, right?" "That's right." "You mind if I get your autograph, Mr. Bridges?" "No problem." So I signed an autograph to a toothless truck driver who likes movies about ducks. Best wishes, Jeff Bridges. Topped off my tank, jumped back into my 28-foot Jayco, pulled out of that truck stop, started merging up onto the highway when my son tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Dad, where's Mom?" I said, "Son, do not screw with me at this moment. I'm driving a building." And then my daughter, whom I trust, said, "No, Dad, she's not here." Now, those of you who are married have some idea of just how much trouble I was in. This goes way beyond, "Oops, I forgot." And then my son said, "Dad, just call her on her cell phone." I said, "There you go," thinking again. So I dialed up her number, and we all listened to her cell phone ring in the seat next to us. Meanwhile, back at the truck stop, my wife is coming out of the food mart with 2 bags of snacks, sees the 28-foot Jayco merging up onto the highway, and then does something that to this day we cannot understand. She starts chasing us. Failing to catch us, She instantly becomes the lunatic woman with 2 bags of snacks. For 15 minutes, she tries to commandeer a ride from every Pennsylvanian she sees. They run from her like the plague. Finally, she sees a young man coming out of the food mart. He gets into his Ford Taurus. She jumps into his passenger seat, looks him right between the eyes and says, "Follow that Jaco." They pull out of that truck stop, start merging up onto the highway. She's sobbing, "Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ." The young man looks at her, reaches across her lap, opens the glove compartment, and pulls out an audio tape of some priest analyzing the Lord's Prayer. That's right, a theology major on his way back to Princeton. How lucky was she? He hands her the tape and says, "Here, he will help you." Down the road they go. Unfortunately, the 28-foot Jaco has found an exit, doubling back, yes, like ships passing in the night. Next time, I'm back at the truck stop. I get out and start to look for where one might, leave a wife. In my case, I start in the snack department. And then I do something that to this day we cannot understand. I call home. I don't know. I thought she might be there, I guess. I still don't know. Our house sitter was there. She answered the phone, said she just called. She's at the rest area 30 miles up the road. Here's the number of the payphone. I called the payphone. She answered on 1/16 of a ring before she could utter a word. I said, "Do me a favor, just stay there." 30 miles later, the 28-foot Jaco pulled into that rest area, and I watched this young theology major escort my wife across the parking lot. And he is looking at me with disdain and an air of arrogance that will serve him well in the priesthood. He literally hands me my wife and says, "You really should hang on to this one." Oh, shut up. Now, upon entering the 28-foot Jaco, the kids have been instructed that no matter what my wife says or does, they are not to laugh. So for 35 minutes, we listened to her side of this epic misadventure, with a lot of biting of lips and the staring out at the Pennsylvania countryside. Her little diatribe culminates with a remark about how the casting of Dumb and Dumber somehow seems appropriate. In Cooperstown, we are the only family to see every single exhibit holding hands. The running joke was, "Where's Mom?" "Shut up, I am right." Several months later, I found myself out promoting a movie, and as was sometimes the case, I ended up on the David Letterman show. I liked doing Dave's show, Walked out onto the stage of the Ed Sullivan Theater, sat in the chair next to Dave. Little red light over the camera went on that meant millions of people be watching. And Dave turns to me and he says, "How's your summer? Do anything interesting?" And I told Dave all about the recreational vehicle. Where in the hell my wife go blue? True story. Be careful of those RVs on the road. That wind hits them. Whew. Drove one for 20 years. I hit a few things too. I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to play one more for you. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you feel so inclined, please, shoot a couple bucks to the Purple Rose Theater Companies. Donate now, the buttons, the things, the graphics, whatever. It will help immensely. That's why I'm here. We'll do it again next week, 7:30 Eastern, next Monday night. Same place, Purple Rose Theater Company YouTube channel. Thank you very much for watching, for listening, and for helping. Leave you with this one. I wrote this song in 1981. And with Mother's Day coming up this coming Sunday, make a note of it. Don't miss it. For those of you who, might. This is also true. Happy Mother's Day. Well, at 26 and Holden in a Boston hotel room, just an oldest son and an old guitar trying to slow down the afternoon. Being alone a lot'll leave you watching sunsets disappear. Before you know it, you're running back through the years. You hit the goods, the bads, the okays, and the ones you'd forgotten till now. And while that old Charles River tries to sleep, you start laughing right out loud. 'Cause you recall through all your fads and phases, through all your running away from homes, how your mama never left her oldest boy alone. You would take the Schwinn out after dark and ride outlaw through the town. You would peek in neighbors' windows to see what Carol was all about. But when Mom came home too early, oh, there's her Buick on the old carport. The time she met you, sneaking in the downstairs door. Small town summers never end for little boys who are turning 12. You got little league games and swimming, brand new words like damn and hell. But when Mom said it was time to mow that lawn, you threw a fit the likes of which has never been thrown. Oh, Mama never left her oldest boy alone. On Saturday night, you'd bring her home with a "We'll be downstairs watching TV." You'd flick on that old black and white, turn up the sound, turn down the lights, sit next to me. And you learned about love on the rec room floor. You tried the do's, you tried the don'ts, you took the dares. The time she caught you when you didn't hear her coming down the stairs. And at 21, Manhattan was about the closest friend you had. 2 years staring out a 10th floor window, wondering were they right when they wrote I was bad. The night you called collect long distance and told her maybe this move was a big mistake. The time she told you to find a way to stay. Now you will soon be seen on the silver screen. You know Broadway like the back of your hand. You got money in the bank and a wife you love. Seems like things are starting to go like you planned. And as I sit here staring down the Boston night, there's just one thing that I know. Oh, mama, don't you never leave me alone.